Welcome to Haunt Weekly. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction industry. Whether you're a big haunt, a small haunt, actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be the podcast for you. Or a podcast for I don't know which.
We're a podcast.
We're a podcast. That is our whole point, our whole intro. We are a podcast.
Yes. We talk about haunty things.
Haunty things, usually.
Yes.
Well, I gotta say, this week's topic is one I think we've been looking forward to.
Yeah. Ever since last week.
Yeah, because we kind of... Last week was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Ethics and haunting is a hard topic, man. It's a rough one. And so, we wanted to do a pick-me-up. So, of course, we're going to talk about the worst haunt we've ever been to.
Right.
Now, okay, right off the bat, a couple of things before we dive into this. One, we're talking about this because every haunt loves to talk about the scares that work, the things that went well, the great experiences they've had. Not many haunters talk about the things that don't work.
Right.
And that's something we want to draw focus to, is that sometimes haunts don't work good. Or
yeah,
don't
like
work.
that sentence.
I get that sentence. Yeah, I know. Some haunts just don't work well. Second, the haunt we're going to be discussing, I believe for the bulk of our time today, we may touch on another haunt or two that we had pretty rough experiences with.
Yeah.
But the haunt we're spending most of our time today is called The Revelation.
Yes.
It was literally only open for 4 days in New Orleans.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, and I want to get this off my chest before we continue with this. We don't know that much about it behind the scenes.
Right.
But we know rumors exist that people from other haunts, like on the North Shore and so forth, contributed to it.
Yes.
And some very talented people worked on it.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
Yeah. Well, we should also touch a little bit about why we're saying this is the worst.
Yeah. And then I was going to get into that in the metric we're using.
Okay. But
I want to say that I believe some very talented people worked on this. Everything I think went wrong with this haunt can be attributed, I believe, to bad owners.
Yeah. I mean, basically the story that I remember about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Is of how it came to be. It was that the guy from the North Shore haunt came down, proposed it, and was told he had like a week to build it. Yeah,
and like no time, no money.
Yeah.
Just an empty building, which, mind you, the location, as we'll discuss, was amazing.
Yes.
I would kill for this location, but everything else about it, yeah. So basically, it seems like this haunt was set up to fail by the owners.
Right.
And I don't wish to knock, because and one of the things we're going to talk about is that obviously going through it, there was creativity, there was some skill. It's just it never had a chance.
Yeah.
This haunt never had a fair shake. And so we're being critical, we're knocking, but we're not knocking the people, what I think was the designer, because it seems like he just got screwed.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And as far as the criteria, you mentioned we needed to discuss that. Because we actually talked about, well, what's the worst haunt we've ever been to? And then we realized we haven't been to that many really bad haunts. Mm-hmm. Like, if we had sat here and had the discussion about the best haunt we've ever been to, it would probably descend into a fist fight. No, it was 13th Gate in 2013. No, it was Rise in 2012. Boom, it was a shot last year.
Yeah.
No, I can see it descending into a fist fight really quickly.
Yes, because that's what we do.
That's what we do. Domestic abuse. Brought to you by Haunt Weekly.
Oh, God. No.
No, okay.
No sound bites.
But no, in all seriousness, so but there were a few. We had to pick one. And so we had some choices.
Yeah.
We could go with the least safe haunt we've ever been to. 'Cause safety's number one, guys.
Yeah.
Safety's number one. And we have been to a handful of haunts that are great contenders for the least safe haunt.
Right, and that will probably be a separate episode.
I think we're actually going to come back to that one.
Yeah.
I think there's enough there to fill an hour easily.
Yeah, because there's at least 3 that we want to touch on.
At least 3, and any podcast where we can talk about me getting a concussion is a good podcast. In my book. So,
yeah, mine too, actually.
So we can do that another time. We can talk about me getting a concussion while going through someone else's haunt later. So the next criteria was, okay, do we pick the one where we felt the most ripped off for our money?
Right.
Which, if that's the case, then just stay tuned for Garbage Heart. No, I'm just kidding. Coming up in a few weeks when we finally get the review done.
Yeah.
But then we realized, no, we kind of wanted to talk for an hour, because that's the nature of the podcast. And so we needed a haunt where a lot of technical things went wrong.
Right.
And a lot of little odds and ends fell apart.
Right.
Because, it's easy to talk about, like, a couple of haunts we've been to, like, at fun parks and things, and we may talk about one of them.
Yeah.
But, briefly, but, the haunt was a disaster.
Yeah.
It
was.
It's much easier to discuss a haunt where some things went right, but so many things went wrong because of terrible ownership. It was a train wreck in a unique way.
Yeah.
How's that?
I'd agree with that.
So, the revelation.
Okay, so first of all, when we heard about it, we got kind of excited.
Yeah, and let's talk about how we heard about it.
Okay.
Because marketing is like where we start off the tracks.
Yes.
We were getting ready to open our haunt.
Right. In
the last few days of October, we run a home haunt.
And this was a few years ago, by the way.
This was a few years ago. I think it was 2012 or 2013. I can't remember which. Really should have looked that one up. But I had sent off in the beginning of October to all the newspapers when our haunt would be, what the theme was, the usual,
right.
The 5 W's and the H for our haunt. And I was just going through paper by paper and checking to make sure it was right and that it was present.
Yes.
And I got to our local big paper, the Times-Picayune, and I checked the haunt listings, and indeed, we were there.
Yay!
We were correct. Double yay. But there was a haunt I had never heard of before.
Right, and we had already planned out our haunt touring season by this point.
Yeah, you go to Garbage Horror, and you know that, like, haunt touring season, this is some military precision planning crap going down. Yeah. We're like, how do we hit... 12 to 15 haunts every year and build our haunt.
Yeah.
And do reviews and get the reviews online.
Yeah, it's a very crazy time.
It's a very crazy time.
Friends forget we exist.
Yeah, I forget.
Or wonder what happened to us, yeah.
But, we didn't hear about it until then.
Right.
And the haunt was opening for 2 weekends in October.
Yep.
Basically the schedule of your average Hell House, really.
Yeah, Fridays and Saturdays only.
And the last 2 in October. And it was actually like one day before opening day when we made this discovery.
Right.
We discovered like the Wednesday or Thursday before. So, we hear about it, and as you said, we got excited.
Yeah. Because we thought, based on the name and going to the website, which was not helpful as to what it was going to be a Hell House. It was going to be our first one. Yeah,
we had not been... I know it sounds crazy, too. Avid haunters had been avid haunters for, by this point, going to haunted house for like 10 years.
Yep.
And that's just counting our time.
Right.
Together. We'd never been to a Hell House. Hell Houses are not big in our area.
Yeah,
you have to go to Texas more.
You had actually seen a documentary on it.
Yes, Hell House.
And wanted to go...
Appropriately named Hell House.
Yes. And wanted to go based off of that.
Totally. I was like rocking it and wanted to knock one out.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I had heard of the concept in the circles.
Yeah, the concept. We need to do a whole... Put that in the notes. Put that in the list. We need to do a full episode on Hell Houses. This has to happen. Because I'm like silly stoked about Hell Houses as a concept. Not because I'm like religious. In fact, it's opposite reason.
Yeah.
But... It's such a... I'm like you. The concept is foreign to me.
Right.
But no, we thought it was a Hell House.
Yeah. Because it's named Revelation.
It had religious quotes and stuff all over the site.
Right.
Which looked like it was built in 1996.
Yeah.
And for the record,
it was a horrible site.
It was a horrible site. It did not have online ticketing. It had minimal information about the actual attraction.
Yes.
I mean...
It had flames in the background.
Yes,
I remember that.
Jet flames. It really looked like a GeoCity site from the early 1990s. It was way dated, and it's weird because this is like, okay, I get that they were rushed, I get that they had no time and no money, but even like a Wix site, would have been more useful, I think. And long and short of it is, the website did not do much to educate us. And we looked at it and realized, okay, they're open Friday and Saturday upcoming. We don't have a choice with our haunt schedule. We'd already planned the haunts we were going to do Saturday.
Yep.
We had a road trip planned Saturday, but our Friday was open. And that was going to be our only chance because the other weekend we're open.
Right.
We can't go. So we have to pull the dick move of going on opening night.
Yeah.
And in fact, with our haunt work schedule, we had to be there right as they opened.
Yes.
Which I believe me, as a haunt dude, I respect we're the jerks here.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
You come knocking on our door at 7 p.m. opening day, you might be a little disappointed too. I'm just saying.
And you might have to wait, 10 to 15 minutes. We've gotten better in recent years.
We've gotten a lot better. We've got a more stable crew. It's helped. But yeah, I mean, I understand that. Believe me, I sympathize. That's not something I'm going to be too critical about.
Right.
But what?
And it was 2013, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I was trying to find the website, but...
You found our review?
No, I found the listing in the Times-Picayune.
Look at her, the smart, sexy one in this room. I'm just the sexy one. Woo!
Okay.
I lied so hard and made myself golf. That's bad. So anyways, we decided to make an evening of it. We go, there's a little, the location was Causeway and I-10.
Right.
The front of this building overlooks Interstate 10 here in New Orleans. Or technically Metairie, but whatever.
It's great. You can see it from the interstate.
Literally.
So it's a good location.
And, personally, going back to the marketing thing, I'm thinking if I've got this location, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to get the permits and put a big old damn sign on the front of the building that can be seen from the interstate.
Some lights pointing at it.
None of that happened.
No.
None of that happened. In fact, when we got there, we were completely unsure we were in the right place.
Yes.
Like 110% unsure. And I'm not going to say this is a bad part of town, because it's not. It's a business part of town. It's reasonable quality, but it's a part of town that is really, really dead at that time of the evening.
Yeah.
It's really quiet.
Yeah. So we pull in the parking lot.
It's dark.
It's dark. We're the only car in the parking lot.
We're it.
And then we see the person in the other car.
Well, first we saw the cop.
That's who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was a cop on detail duty.
Yes.
He obviously, which you have to do in most areas, you have to do this, but in our area you have to have a cop on detail duty and have a haunt open. Because he had to be there to control the raging crowd of 2 people who showed up for opening.
In fact, I believe he was asleep when we arrived.
And we're like, hey,
yeah.
Are we in the right place? And he's like, are you here for the haunted house? I'm like, yeah. Looking around. Well, you're in the right place. All right, where is it? Because there's no signage.
Right. There's 2 wedding tents set up outside of a building. There's nothing in the tents. There are no signs on the tents.
No signs on the tents, no tables, no ticket booth.
Right. Nobody inside.
I ain't got nobody. Nobody. I'll stop now.
Yeah.
But
there was a gorilla on the roof, correct?
Yeah, there was actually several inflatables on the roof. The gorilla was the big one, though.
The gorilla was the big one. I think they did have a little pumpkin.
I think they had a pumpkin, but
it was further back and harder to see.
The biggest thing they had that you could see from the road, because we learned this later, the place it was in was one of those inflatable warehouses, like they sell the inflatables so you can have at your kids' parties or for other things.
Yeah, or out in front of fireworks stands.
They sell and rent that stuff.
Yeah.
And so their way of promoting the haunt was to put the biggest ones they had on the roof, even though they had nothing to do with Halloween.
Yep, because that'll work.
So anyways, we end up waiting like 20 to 30 minutes or so. And finally, someone from inside the haunt wanders outside.
Yes.
Purely by, they were doing something else.
I think we startled them.
Yeah, we scared them. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I don't know anymore.
Yeah. We thought we were coming to a haunted house. Possibly a hell house.
Yeah, we're like, what's going on here? And like, nudge, nudge. I'm like, oh, you're here for the haunt. Yes, we are here to pay money and attend a haunted attraction. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll get someone to take your money and the tickets.
Yeah.
And by this time, I think we had a total of 8 people at this point. Because like 2 other groups of 3 had showed up. Like a mother and a father and their teenage son had showed up. And a group of like 3 teenagers had showed.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot.
It was not a lot. Not a bustling line. They came and they apologized profusely for the delay. They said they were having some holdups. And I'm sitting there doing... And we're like, dude, we get it. Believe me.
Yeah.
Totally been there. Not a problem. We're really forgiving at this juncture. Yeah. And they offer us a free ticket to the secondary attraction they had.
Right.
Which was a kids 3D Funland type thing.
Right.
And we had no interest in that, honestly. We weren't even going to go.
Yeah.
But now they're giving us free ticket to it. We're going to feel obligated.
Yeah.
So, after about, I think it was between 30 and 40 minutes, outside, in the dark.
Yeah, it was 45 minutes.
It was at least 45
minutes. Because
it
was almost 8 when they finally let us in. So we're already an hour behind.
Yeah. We finally get inside, and we're greeted with the first scene in the haunt.
Right, after going through a confusing... Because they just said kind of go that way, and it was a black hallway, and then you had to know to turn off to go into the first scene.
Yeah. Now... I should add real fast here, and this is something that really aggravates. This actually makes me mad.
Uh-huh.
And this makes me mad as a haunt owner, as a haunt attendee, as a haunt actor. In every respect, I am a haunt person. This part offends me. And that is, like I said, there are 8 people outside. You and I are first in line.
Right.
There's 2 other groups behind us. 2 other easily demarked groups.
Right.
What do? They throw all 8 of us in at once.
Yep.
Now look, as a haunt reviewer, I love that because I get to see other people's reactions.
Yes.
But as an actor, I'm sitting there thinking, I'd much rather have 3 chances to scare people.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 chances to scare people, or at least there were just many other ways they could have handled
There was no reason to have us go in as a group of 8. No. 8 is a pretty large group to go through a haunt.
Yeah, there's not like a huge line of people, so...
They weren't being overrun by humanity. There was no reason not to give the most isolated and best experience possible.
Right.
There was no reason to not do that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not like we already waited 45 minutes. It's not like the extra 5 minutes for the other groups behind us was going to hurt.
Yeah.
I mean... So anyways, but that part really drives me crazy because that's just poor planning and poor understanding of what makes a haunt good.
Right.
I mean, yes, if you have to have a conga line, you have to have a conga line. Leonard Pickle and Company is absolutely right. You need to design your haunt to be able to sustain that. You do.
Yeah.
Because that's called capacity.
Yes.
You need the capacity. But if you don't have the crushing weight of humanity behind you, break it up, man. Give people a chance to experience it, more alone, more isolated, and be put in a little additional terror. And also it gives your actors a chance to have more scares.
Yeah.
I mean, a group of 8, you can only scare once, realistically. It's too small to get
right.
The line twice.
Unless you have it mapped out expertly. To where you can hit the front and the back of the line.
Yeah, but even then, that's tough with
tough.
A. It's
that's why I said
tough.
Expertly.
You would have to place all your scares around tight corners at that point.
Yep.
That's what you got to do.
That's exactly what you would have to do.
And that's crushing for haunt design.
Well, and it also means that you're going to have more actors.
Yeah.
Because you can't have them do double duty anywhere.
Yeah. That's good. So yeah, there's a lot of issues with that.
Yeah.
But it could happen. It could be done. So anyways, we go into this first scene, which is tough to describe. It was an exterior of you were like in a churchyard.
Yeah.
But it was...
Yeah, it was kind of like a graveyard, kind of like a church area.
Yeah, it's really tough to...
It was a gate. There was a gate.
Yeah. And a church facade against one wall. Which is, I gotta say, everything looked good. The theme was not very cohesive.
No.
And this is why I strongly believe there is talent behind this haunt.
Right.
It's because the stuff they had time for looked at least decent.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell that they spent some time on these props. Whether they brought them from
elsewhere
a different
or whatever
haunt, or they built them, very quickly for this one. I suspect that they brought them.
A lot of this had to be brought.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you could build some of this in a week. It was just too good.
Yeah.
But it was a nice setup, and I mean, like I said, the theme was confusing, and it was a little weird because we're inside.
Right.
You got to realize, as Crystal had just said. We'd gone in the front door, down a hallway, turned off, then realized we'd walked into the bathroom, and then got back out, and then...
Yeah, it was very... Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even then, there was the gate.
Sorry, ma'am.
There was the gate, and then there was another way to go, which was an actor run in that little area.
Yeah.
So we thought we were supposed to go through the actor run until the actor came out and opened the gate.
Yeah.
Because
the gate was closed,
wasn't confusing at all.
Yeah. Now, they had this female actor come out, and she did the thing, which, okay, I have mixed feelings about this in general, where she reads the rules of the haunt.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to have an actor read you the rules because you've decided a poster isn't enough, they've got to be an engaging actor. The Insanitarium had a very engaging female actor. And by that I mean she was super cute. Oh my god.
Yes. Yes, she did it very well.
But she was also a very good actor too.
Right. She was a good character.
She was a very good character.
And that's the difference. She was a character. This person was a person reading a script.
Yeah. Yeah. In the Sanitarium, they had a girl who was easy on the eyes, which is always nice, but also a very engaging character, a very good actor, and was someone who I kind of wanted to hang out with just in general.
Yeah.
She was all around grade A, awesome and engaging in every way.
She was playing a smart engineer.
Yeah. Think of like Gadget, but human.
Kind of girl, yeah.
Gadget from Rescue Rangers, but human.
Yes.
That's what I would say. Describe that character.
Yeah.
This woman was a priest, in Revelation, was a priestess type character.
She was wearing a robe.
That's why I'm saying priestess. I got nothing else to pull out of my butt. Okay?
She looked like a grandma in a Halloween robe.
But she was supposed to be some kind of priest character, I believe. But yes, like you said, she was not a very engaging actor. She wasn't
engaging, and the character was not developed at all.
There was no character. What was her name?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
No.
I have no idea what her name was. I have no idea what her story was. And she didn't really relay that much information about the haunt.
Right.
You gotta realize, at this juncture, we're still like 60% sure it's a hell house.
Yeah.
We're like 50 to 60% sure we're still in a hell house. That this is a church building somehow. We haven't figured it out how this works.
Yeah.
And she talks briefly about the apocalypse, briefly about a few things. And then throws open the gate and sends us into the first room once again as a mass.
Actually, it was the first hallway.
First hallway, that's true.
It was a black hallway, black painted hallway, with things coming out of the wall.
The pool noodles.
Pool noodles on the wall, pressure pads, black pressure pads on the light gray floor.
Well, I really thought the first scene in it, and this may be where our memories are differing, was the living room scene.
That was after the hallway. That was directly after the hallway.
Okay. Because I don't remember the first hallway being very long.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It was just long enough for me to see the pressure pad, know what it was, step over it, and let the guy behind me step on it and shoot the air cannon at him.
Yeah, I mean...
because that's how I had fun in this.
Yeah. and this is where we come to probably the biggest technical problem with this haunt. Is light leaks.
Yeah,
light design was non-existent.
Yeah, basically, it looked like they just had the emergency lighting for the building on.
Yeah, it looked like that level of lighting everywhere.
Yeah, it was the same level of lighting everywhere. There was no directional lighting. There was no intent to dim the lights in any section.
Well, and the problem they had was there were a couple of scenes down the line.
Right.
That were very brightly lit. And we'll get to them in a minute. And I understand why there's no roof on the haunt structure because of the fire code compliance. You got to have access to the sprinklers and all that, and you don't want to drop the sprinkler. I get all this.
Yeah.
I get it all. But at the same time, if you don't have a roof, you have no way of adding a roof structure, then you need to be very, very careful with your light design.
Right.
You need to use very directional lighting. You need to focus on making sure the light from one scene doesn't enter the scene next door.
Right. Well, there's that, and there's also, because it was bright enough to see, but still, I would say, a dimmer lit, you could use brighter lights in strategic ways to make it seem darker than it actually was. But that wasn't done either.
No, it wasn't. And that was really unfortunate because once again, and this goes back to my thinking about how everything was caused by rush.
Yeah.
It really feels like this entire haunt was rushed and that they just didn't have the time to do the lighting design.
Yeah, that's possible because it also sounded like there was one guy putting it all together.
Yeah. And that's one thing we haven't hit on yet. This was a big haunt.
Yeah.
It was actually, I think it was well north of 4,000 square feet.
Probably. I mean, it was pretty big.
It was pretty big, and it tried to use its space.
It did.
But the problem was, since they didn't have time to adequately fill the space, it ended up being 90% filler.
Right.
And see, like, we're talking about this blackout hallway. I mean, you should never have a black hallway.
No.
That's a JC haunt era thing.
Boring.
We did it 10 years ago.
No. We've never had a black hallway.
I thought the very first time we opened here, we did it.
Nope.
Well, the point remains, you shouldn't do it.
Nope. You shouldn't.
But they had to. And well, there is an exception to that rule, and I do think there is an exception. That is when you're doing a hard transition from one room to the next, and you just want it to be nothing but a transition, just want people to funnel through it quickly.
Like an LPs or something.
Like an LPs or something like that. It's fine. Or even like a 3 panels in a row, just to get people into the next scene. It can be fine. But the problem that I had with this was these hallways went forever.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the first one wasn't that long. I don't recall it being as long as some others. It might have been like 50 feet or so.
Yeah, the only
Still
reason
longer
I
than
remember
you should have a black hallway, but...
Yeah, the only reason I remember is because I got the guy with the air cannon behind me.
And that's because the light from the facade scene was leaking right into that hall.
Yeah.
They suspended... In fact, I remember they had a giant light on the front of the church that just shone...
Like a spotlight. Show that way.
And it went toward the audience, so away from the hall, but it was so powerful and so high up that it just washed a large portion of that hallway.
Yep. So then we went into the first scene.
Which was a living room sequence.
Yes. It was set up like a living room. What do you want? I mean, there was a couch. There was, I think, a bookshelf.
A bookshelf. There was a severed head on the couch.
Yes.
It was actually a spirit prop.
Yeah, there was TV.
Yeah.
It was a big room.
Yeah, it was
because they had plenty of space.
It was a big room. It was actually fairly detailed, all things considered.
Yeah.
And it was very bizarre because we get into it, and it's like something's going to happen now.
Right.
That was just a warm up. That was just to get us into the haunt. Now it's getting real. Now it gets real, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, and I'm sure that's what you were thinking.
Yeah.
And then we go through the room, and nothing happens.
Nope.
There's no actor.
Nope.
There's no scare.
Nope.
No automated scare, no human scare, just nothing. It's a creepy room. It's actually fairly well lit, fairly well decorated. Nothing happens.
Yeah. So basically, you're just walking through a movie set.
You go through a little, not even a particularly well done movie set. I mean,
no.
It was adequate.
Yeah.
If the entire haunt had been decorated like that, considering I think we paid $10.
Yeah.
I would not have felt ripped off. I would have been perfectly happy, perfectly fine, felt like I got my money's worth. And in fact, if the entire haunt had just been that and it had been smaller, I would have still felt fine.
Yeah.
But the problem was, you get out of that room, it's boom, like you're back into the black hallway.
Right.
And that black hallway, this time around, goes forever.
And it has nothing but fishing line hanging in it.
It has fishing line. It had a pressure pad at one point. It had nothing. It had absolutely nothing in it. And it eventually, I think we wandered through this blackout part for like 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
At least. That's a conservative estimate. When I say it went on forever, I'm not being glib.
Right.
It really felt like forever.
It felt like forever.
Because you round a corner in it and you're like, oh, now something. Nope, more black. Nope, still more black.
There were at least 3 turns of black hallway.
Yeah. And it got really, really bad by the end of it. And we finally hit the next sequence.
Yes.
Which was an operating room.
Yes.
This was my favorite scene in the damn haunt.
Well, yeah. Obviously.
Well,
So the way it's set up is you walked in and there was a gurney with somebody on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember. Was it a prop or an actual person?
I don't remember, but either way, it was the distract.
Right. Because there was somebody beside it, too.
Yeah, because the idea is the way the room... This was actually pretty damn smart. The worst haunt we ever went to, they did a lot of things right.
Yeah.
The layout of the room forced you up against like these observation windows.
Right.
That were on the far side of it.
Right. So, they used prop design to...
Yeah, prop-based layout.
Right.
To push you against it. And as you're pushed against it, you're watching this struggle. And I can't remember, it was an operating table / gurney thing.
Right.
Because they had the bright lights on it.
Yeah.
They used lighting and motion to draw your focus on it.
Right. And I do think there were 2 actors come to think of it. Because I think that one of them was pleading and one of them was trying to,
Yeah. But they definitely had the distract element going in the center of the room. And as you're passing by these windows, the guy on the other side jumps up and bangs on the glass. And,
right. And actually they had a pole with, and he had a grinder.
Yeah.
So he grinded sparks all throughout.
Yeah.
Like huge sparks because it was an enclosed room.
Yeah, that was his thing, is he jumped up, banged on it, and when everyone goes, jumps, and turns around, he fires up the grinder and just starts throwing sparks.
Yeah.
It was a pretty well done room, and that's what... In fact, I think this is why it's my worst haunt, because it wasn't a haunt that just sucked.
Right.
It was a haunt that showed a ton of promise and was killed by stupid flipping decisions by the owners.
Yeah.
Because
and if the owners or the people giving the space had given this person freedom to come back another year.
Yeah, give them another shot.
Yeah, more than a 4-day run.
God.
They probably would have made a lot of money on it.
They probably could have had some success. But you can't build a haunt this size in a week, and you can't have it only open for 4 days with almost no promotion.
Right.
It's just, you can't do these things. There's no success around the corner. So, but anyways, getting back to the haunt, we get through that sequence, and we're both like, yeah, thumbs up on that. I appreciate that. Yeah. I respect this. Back into the black hallway.
Yay?
It's like, oh my God. And I remember this section had, it's really hard to tell you, like remembering this years later, the black hallways blur together. But I remember this sequence they used the thing where you take the rubber tie straps from like a truck.
Yeah. And
they made bars out of them that you had to navigate through at one point.
Yeah.
They did that.
That was annoying.
That was super annoying. I mean, and they did that. They did more pool noodles, more fishing line.
Yes. Let's put all of the annoying stuff in one hallway.
Yeah, and then it emptied out into another side building, which is where the cemetery was.
Right. Okay, so there were only 3 scenes, because that's all I was remembering too. Well, 4 scenes with the church in the front.
Yeah. There were only 3 or 4 sequences in the entire haunt.
Yeah.
And if we may be forgetting one. If so, it was literally more forgettable than an empty living room with a spirit head on a couch. So if there is a 4th sequence that I have forgotten, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
But, so we go into the graveyard. The graveyard was bizarre.
Yeah, well, and it's almost like this house and operating room were inside of this church, because we had the church facade and then we end in a graveyard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like those 2 things go together.
Yeah, the bookends are appropriate, but nothing else in the middle makes sense.
Right.
And what really frustrated me about the graveyard was you're in this side room. Like I said, it's not actually part of the main warehouse part. It's in like a storefront. It's in like a regular good old fashioned storefront. And the result of that is they didn't black out the windows.
Right.
So when you come in from like the back of it.
No.
And you can look to your right and see over the tombstones, which were not very well done.
Yeah, and it looked like they were the little styrofoam ones you can pay $5 for.
At Walmart, yeah. And see right out the glass into the parking lot.
Yeah.
So there's zero illusion going on.
Yeah.
Because they also didn't bother just like fogging the floor.
No.
Or doing anything to disguise the floor. It was obviously a carpeted floor. They didn't do anything with it, and they just had a guy running around in there trying to get scares. And he's got nothing to work with.
Yeah, I thought there were a couple of people in there.
There might have been 2.
Yeah, but
they had nothing to work with.
No, and I felt bad for them. And you just ran down the rabbit run, right?
Yeah, you basically just walked out, yeah. You did like a lap around the outside and left, yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
There was no meandering through the cemetery. There was no. You just walked around the outskirts of it, and these zombie-like characters did. I mean, look. Props. They tried.
Yeah.
They tried. They tried so hard.
Yeah.
They did. But they had jack crap to work with. They had nothing. They had no hiding spots. They had no effects. Nothing.
I think I might have gotten frustrated if I were them and picked up one of the tombstones and like bashed it over my head.
Or just work out like a gimmick with the other zombie in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take this styrofoam tombstone and just crack it over your skull.
Yes.
And pretend like I just totally busted your brains out.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something like that. Work like a WWE style gimmick with a chair shot.
Right.
Do something. But yeah, I mean, when we were the first group, they didn't realize, they could not have seen how terrible it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then you take a right, and then you were out in the parking lot. It was done. The entire walk time of the haunt was about, if I remember correctly, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It was long for the price, but 90+% of it was filler.
Yeah, it was all black hallways
with strings and pressure pads, and then we went to the 3D attraction, and then it went from being disappointing to just straight up awkward.
Yeah, well, so it was our first experience with 3D paint,
and it's worth noting this was before I had LASIK,
right?
And that's actually important because I had. Before LASIK, I had one eye that was terrible,
right,
and one eye that was perfect.
Yeah.
So those red-blue 3D glasses never work. The polarized ones are fine because they can work on just one eye, but the red-blue ones, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It just ain't working, dude. I mean, I really want to go back and try those magic eye paintings now. I haven't actually seen one. So I couldn't get them as a kid, but maybe now I could.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But yeah, so I was not enthused about 3D anything.
Yeah, in the 3D painting, because I was able to see it in action, I use that term very loosely, was okay, but it wasn't it wasn't the best I've seen since.
Well, how would you stack it up? Since you were the only one that got the damned effect.
Yeah.
How would you stack it up against the Darkness or the House of Shocks 3D sequences?
Less than.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, it doesn't stack up to those.
But the part that killed me...
Oh, and there were copyrighted characters in there.
Yes, copyright and trademark characters. I did note that. And I decided against turning them in because I figured there probably wasn't much to worry about.
Yeah.
Because like I said... But the part that killed me was this was supposed to be a kid's attraction.
Yeah, that's why there was like Mickey Mouse and...
Donald Duck and crap like that on the walls. And so we get in there and we're adults. And the only reason we're there is because we got a free ticket. And I felt obligated...
Because it was $5 by
itself,
added on.
Yeah, it was $5 added on. We got it for free, and at this point, the night's such a train wreck. I just can't stop looking at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So of course we're gonna go. It's like duh.
It's like we're here. We
I
might
get
as
in there.
well.
They had a little ball pit. We could have jumped in. Like hell, I'm doing that.
Yeah, we did. We got in there and threw balls at each other.
Well, yeah, but let me rephrase that. We were supposed to jump in it. I stood in it.
Yeah,
and it was up to my ankle.
One layer.
I am not jump. There's a jump in the ball, but I'm like, hell no! I can look at that and see it's not deep.
Yeah.
Dear Jesus, I'll break something. But the part that killed me was they had these. I don't know how old they were, but they looked like teenage girls.
Yeah.
In these really cute baby doll dresses with pigtails.
Yeah.
Walking up to us, going, "Would you like to play with me?" And I'm just there, oh, honey. Yeah. Honey. Oh, God, this is...
And they've got the 3D paint on, so they're glow in the dark.
This conversation's gonna have a split here.
Light. Yeah.
No, there's literally nothing I can say here as a 30-something-year-old man that is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no response you can give to that.
Except just awkwardly shuffle away. I mean...
Yeah. Stay and play with me.
Through the Scooby.
Yeah.
There's like, oh God, and it's like I feel skeezy.
They weren't scary.
They weren't scary.
They did make you skeezy, yes. They did make you feel skeezy.
But they weren't scary. They weren't supposed to be. It was supposed to be a kid's play area, which is not a terrible idea to couple with a haunted attraction.
No, because it gives something for families to do then.
You can tap the family crowd a little bit. But man, was it not well executed. And the problem was, due to the poor marketing, there was no one but adults there.
Yeah.
There was no one under the age of 13 in our group of 8.
Okay. I thought there was one dad and daughter.
Well, it was not a child daughter, though, was it?
Early teens, probably.
Yeah, early teens, what I was thinking.
But yeah, well, and the other problem with the 3D thing is that every actor in there had the same line.
Mm-hmm.
There was no differentiation between what they said to you.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been better if they had taken those 4 or 5 girls that they put in there and put them over in the haunt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because, I mean, like, stick one of them in that room that was empty.
Yes.
And have her do some Uncanny Valley creepy stuff in that room. That would have been pretty good. I would have actually liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing was a mess.
Yeah. And
it's like I said, and the reason I chalk it up as the worst haunt I've been to isn't because it's actually totally the worst haunt.
Right.
And let's be honest, it's not. Beulah Fun Park, I think, was by far a worse haunted attraction.
Probably.
Because, and we'll talk, maybe we'll spend like 5 minutes on it toward the end of this. We got 9 more minutes to fill at least. So we got a little time.
Yeah.
But the reason I put it as the worst is because I see glimmer of talent here and there and just watch it get totally stomped on by obvious limitations placed upon it by the owner, whether was the owner who was leasing the building. I don't really know who it was. And the weird thing about it is this. It's like I said, I'm not going to play the we know everybody in the New Orleans haunting community card. We don't. Right. We admit we don't. We know a lot of people, but we don't know everybody.
Right.
But I felt like we knew enough so that the idea of a major haunted attraction opening up without us knowing seemed almost impossible.
Yeah, it was a bit odd. Yeah.
It seemed impossible. And they opened up, I actually did the math. They opened up 3.1 miles away from the House of Shock.
Yeah.
Literally, my morning jog could get us from where the Revelation was to the House of Shock. You can't open up that close to the House of Shock and not bring an A game.
No. You
just can't. Or at least, some good marketing. At least something to the table. And they didn't have anything.
No.
It's really atrocious. And I really feel bad for whoever it was that was building and was designing it. Because they really showed, in the brief glimmers they could, they had some talent, they had some creativity, and they knew how to set up a really good distract and startle. Mm-hmm. That operating room was a very, very well set up distract and startle.
Right.
It was beautifully executed, too. Those actors in that room did a great job. But they needed, 8 times more of that.
Yeah.
And that probably would have necessitated...
Having what? 6 actors for 4,000 square feet? That's not cool. That's never going to work.
No. And even if you have them pulling double or triple duty, it's not enough. We have 6 actors in a 600 square foot haunt.
Yeah.
And sometimes I worry we're empty. Sometimes I think we could use an extra pair of hands. But, yeah, that's the thing is...
This year we actually had 10.
We did? We had 10. Wow.
We had 10.
But the problem is that kills this rush job, this obvious attempt to do a quick cash-in on a haunt just produced a terrible haunt almost nobody went to.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate for the creative talent that was trying to make it good. And that's I guess that's why I think it was worse, is because it kills me both as a haunt customer and as a haunter. Because it crushes my soul a little bit to think about what the people trying to make it good went through.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because with Bulow, and we'll switch to it for a few minutes here.
Okay.
As a haunter, I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Because they ain't haunters. They didn't even flip and try.
Well, okay. So the first year we went to it was the first time we saw sparks fly.
It was the first time we saw the angle grinder bit used.
Yeah. And we thought, oh, that was cool, and it was at the end.
Yeah.
So we left with a more positive
impression than
we should have. Because we came back the next year, because my parents lived up near it.
Yeah, for the record, for those playing along at home that don't know Louisiana geography, which, good for you. Bulow is a lake in the middle of the state, pretty much, near the city of... If you look at the middle of the state, it's near Alexandria.
Yeah.
It's not a very densely populated area, but it's worth noting that it did support Louisiana Nightmares in Alexandria, which was sort of a sub-haunt to the 13th Gate.
I'm not sure about that.
I thought they were related. I thought they were connected.
I thought they were, and then I've heard other stories.
Okay.
We need to confirm that
one. Backtrack that one. Strike that. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
We never met the people behind Louisiana Nightmares. We just heard that they were somehow connected to the 13th Gate.
No.
Maybe that's wrong. I should really ask Dwayne at some point. I don't think I've ever gotten around to asking him.
Yeah, we should confirm that.
We should actually confirm that. Okay, please retract that statement and strike it from the record.
It is stricken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Courtroom logic strikes again. It was never uttered.
So the next year we go back and we say, hey, we came last year. Have you changed anything? Oh, yeah, it's all new.
All new this year. All new.
Whole thing.
Now, it's worth noting this was a $10 haunt. Tickets were $10.
Okay. I thought it had changed to $15 the second year.
It might have. It was at least $10.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was $10 or $15. Either way, the haunt had, and we know because we timed these things, a 4.5 minute walkthrough.
Yeah.
And we bitched here about the black hallways.
Right.
In Revelation. At least Revelation gave enough of a damn to have a few real rooms.
Yeah.
Every wall in this fun park was black.
Yeah, basically they just hid actors around corners in a black hallway and it was trailer haunt.
Yeah, it was a trailer haunt.
So it was a multi-trailer haunt.
I have my own issues with trailer haunts because I find that you get neither the portability of a trailer or the high quality of a regular haunt. But that's a separate issue. This was just it was atrocious, and the thing about that killed me was every haunter out there gets the same damned catalogs.
Yeah.
For props, we've all seen the same Fright Props catalogs. Mm-hmm. And
lots of others.
But basically, there's like a set of these catalogs. They sell the same props, and we've all seen them. We've all seen them, especially now with the invention of the internet.
Right.
Which Craig Ferguson said was the greatest invention since 1950. We just saw... We watched Join or Die, okay? It's a great show. You should check it out.
Yes.
But the point of the matter is, the one expense they did undergo was they bought, I would say, maybe 10 to a dozen of those props.
Yeah.
And just sprinkled them like crack through the haunt. And so, like, oh, that's the electric chair dude we saw online. Make him work. You're trying, like, waving at him, trying to make him work. It's like, come on, dude, do your thing.
Yeah.
And so, basically they had a few mid-range props.
Right.
A couple of actors in blackout costumes around corners. And
not all of them were in blackout
suits. A lot of them were, though.
Some of them were clowns. Some of them were in other characters. And I will say that most of the actors that were in there, you could tell they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
They were dying to have a real haunt in the area to work in.
Yeah. Yeah, they tried, but once again, it's a classic situation of it doesn't matter if you don't give them anything to work with.
No.
I mean, yeah, there are actors who you can just stick in a blank room and they will scare the crap out of people.
Yeah.
But those actors are 1 in 100 at the least.
Yeah, I think Bulow actually had one the first year.
Yeah, not the second year, though.
No. Because they worked the barrel and a door. It was like a metal door that they would bang.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to give the actors something to do, something to work with. You've got to build your rooms around scares, not just make a winding path through a pair of double trailers and paint it all black and throw some props in.
And call it a haunted attraction.
And it was, that's just it. It was like way too short, way too overpriced. And the realization was these guys, not necessarily the people in the, not necessarily the actors, but the owners and designers were not haunters.
No, they just wanted money.
They were fun park owners that thought, wouldn't it be neat if our fun park had a haunted house?
And I think what happened was they saw Louisiana Nightmares, they saw the line outside, and they said, hey, we want some of that. But let's do it this way.
Louisiana Nightmares had like scenes and sets and stuff.
So they don't have to go through it to know that. They just have to see the line and say, hey, that makes money. Yeah. So we can do that, right?
Yeah, if it's like someone described a haunted attraction to them, handed them some of the catalogs, and gave them a double wide trailer.
Yep.
That's really what happened. It felt like they'd almost never been through a haunt. And it was really unfortunate because that area does deserve a good haunted attraction. Yeah. It is definitely underserved. And if we actually wanted to live in that area, which we don't, we would look at maybe serving that community better because it is really tragic they don't have a better attraction. They deserve it. I mean, Monroe has, a better one.
Right. And
Shreveport has a couple.
And there are a couple that I've heard of that we do need to check out in that area that have opened recently.
Yeah, and we have not been able to go to
because Bulow was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. We're talking 2006, 2007. We're talking post-Katrina, but not by much.
Yeah.
When we describe it. Yeah, but that one doesn't kill me. It ticks me off because I feel ripped off.
Yeah.
But it doesn't kill me because it's like, he didn't even care.
Yeah, there was no glimmer of creativity.
He was not trying to do something good and was merely stymied by terrible owners. He just didn't give a damn.
No.
So that angers me, but it doesn't kill me. Revelation, it's like, there's potential here.
Yeah, we could see where that guy could make money if he was given a proper chance.
But he just isn't given a fair shake, and it's murder.
Yeah.
That remains the biggest kick in the teeth to me about Revelation today.
Yep.
Yeah, because, if you don't care about your haunt, I'll slam it in the review. I'll say nasty things about you, but it won't torture my soul for years later. Revelation tortures my poor, wretched soul.
Yes.
And that's why. I think that's the reason I think of it that way. Yeah, I think we've analyzed my justification.
Okay.
All right. Well, anything else you want to add? Because we're about out of time.
No. If you like us, follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook at username Haunt Weekly. At Twitter, username Haunt Weekly.
I'm sensing a pattern.
Sensing a pattern here, yes. We're on those places. Of course, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or just come to hauntweekly.com and check us out there if that so pleases your majesty. On that note, everyone, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you guys